yesterday and I was on my phone. And you made me take mine.
Well, she wanted me to come into her room until she fell asleep. And you guys last the night out here. Wait, are you no, so at the time that it's like full. It's TV, but no, she doesn't TV, so
Oh yeah, you guys had an awesome dog.
at first, I still had it, but now it's like I remember when we had our own house. And we would play Just Dance. Happy Bird. Oh yeah, that was great.
Okay guys, let's start with these two. So in each of these, we have to isolate what's being raised to the power of the root. So I have to get this alone. So that means I have to move the 3 over, but I also have to move that negative over, and that's where I was seeing the most mistakes. So I move this 3 over. So 0 minus 3, but then I have to get rid of that negative. So it's like dividing by a -1 or multiplying by a -1. So this will just be 3 over here. Now I'm ready to raise each side to the second power, because that's what the root would be. So this would be squared, this would be squared, and this will go away. So 2 minus y will equal 9. So now I'm ready to solve that. So negative y equals 7. So that means y would equal -7, because I divide by a -1. And then I would just go back and check that that works. So 2 minus the -7 becomes 2 plus 7, which is 9. To the 1/2 power means square root, so that's going to be 3. So 3 minus 3 is 0. So that one does work out okay. Now this next one, the radical is already isolated. So I'm ready to take each side to the 3rd power, because that's the cube root. 2 to the 3rd power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So now I just have to move this over. And so I find out y is 7. When I put 7 back in, 7 plus 1 is 8. The cube root of 8 is just 2. So that works as well. 21. Oh, 21 was tough. I was talking with this one with Ethan before you guys left yesterday. So the issue on this one is, because you probably want to isolate that square root. The square root's kind of weird because of the fact that it has the x being multiplied to it. So you might want to divide by x, but then you're squaring, and it's in the denominator, so it's kind of a little bit of a mess. So what I'd suggest instead here is just squaring each side. Now when I square this side, both of these have to get squared. So this becomes x squared times square root of x squared, it's just going to be x, and this is going to be 64. So like basically that becomes squared, and then this one, the square root goes away. Now this is x to the 2nd, x to the 1st, so it's x to the 3rd. And if I'm trying to solve this, I don't know if we've talked much about, I can't remember if we just, bless you. But to undo cubed, we do cube root. So I'd cube root each side, and so that just ends up being 4. And 4 does work. If you do 4 times the square root of 4, 4 times 2 is just 8. It's kind of a weird one. 25. At first I looked at it and I thought we didn't know how to solve it, but it just takes a little bit more thinking there.
So good to know.
Okay. So number 25, again we have to isolate the radical. So I have to move that 3 over first. And when I square the left side, the square root drops off. So I just have 4n minus 5. When I square the right side, I'll get 49. Then I'm ready to move this 5 over. So 4n equals, is that 54?
Yeah.
No, that's kind of an icky number, I think. What is that?
13.5.
So 13.5. But then we have to go check it in the problem up here, but when you put that back in, that actually works out to be nice. It ends up being 54 minus 5, which is 49. The square root of 49 is 7, so 3 plus 7. So it does work out. It's just kind of a little bit messy to substitute back in. I think 37 is next. Ooh, this is one of the big long ones. So I might need more space. Actually, why don't I do 38 right now, and then I'll do 37 and 39 on their own pages. Because I think this one is not this big. Oops, gotta write it down. So this is 3G. Oh, I did it again. This is 6G. Okay. So again, we're isolating what's being raised to the power. So this is 38. I'm going to move over this 2. So this is a negative 5. Now, in order to get rid of that 1/3 power, I'm going to raise each side to the 3rd power. So this goes away. So 6G minus 5 equals negative 5 to the 3rd power is a negative 125. Negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. Then I'm going to move this 5 over. So the negative 120 divide by 6. So I find out G is a negative 20. And then we just have to test it back in the equation. So this ends up being a negative 125. The cube root of it is negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. So it works out just fine. All right. And then those last two, 37, 39, those bigger problems. What class is your skit for?
Gym.
You have a gym skit?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the sun.
What in the world? What he's getting creative in there now? I didn't even know about it. So he's just done teaching. He's like, you guys just do skits now to teach.
Yeah.
Okay. So you square this side and square over here. So on the left side, the square root goes away. On the right side, we have to FOIL. That's this kind.
Foil.
So, left side doesn't change. The right side, though, I have to do a bunch of multiplying here. I'm going to kind of keep moving. And then when I multiply these two together, they cancel the roots out, so it's just 4x minus 2. Now, hopefully you notice the 4x's on each side can cancel. I subtract them and then so they would go away. These two can go together. So I have 1 here. I have 9 and a negative 2, so that's 7. This is 6 root 4x minus 2. Move this 7 over. Divide by 6. So we get a negative 1 equals square root of 4x minus 2. So now I'm ready to square each side. Oh, this is bad. So this is 3, plus 4x. So we get whoops, divide by 4, sorry. Do all the work right to the last step. So x ends up being 3/4. So technically we should go back and check this. So 3/4 times 4 is just 3, plus 1 is 4, square root of 4 is 2. Over here, put this back in. This is 3 minus 2 is 1. So 3 plus 1 is actually 4. So this one ends up being a no solution. So is that right? That's evil. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Yes, it should be no solution, but that's pretty terrible. Do all that work and then find out the answer doesn't work. And it's a fraction.
Good thing I forgot that.
Cruel and unusual punishment. Sorry. And then 39. 39 does have an answer. Works out. Okay.
Gruber law.
Oh my gosh. Thank God Dave Gruber came back up again.
It's literally 20 minutes.
Is he the drop the ball? Don't drop the ball. Is that him? Or is that a different guy? Make the call. Don't drop the ball. Make the call. Is that a different?
Yeah, he does the best on him.
That's a different weird.
Who is he then?
I'm trying to think.
This is Don Weaver's elder lover.
You know she's into those lawyers.
What?
What is it? Don't drop the ball.
Condislaus?
One call, that's all.
Who is that? Are you Googling this for me?
Don't drop the ball, make the call. Justina Trademarks. Helped Carlson, Ball, and
I don't
Clemens.
think that sounds right.
Can you give me that?
Right Milwaukee behind it. It's got to be Milwaukee.
Something make a big splash with a big advertising campaign. They seem to come and go. But
Heck.
Carlson, Blau, and Clemens have been helping injured accident victims for
I don't think that's it.
40 years. Live with experience. You come first. Never a fee until you win. They can meet with you at your house.
Okay, Abby, turn that off. That's not it.
I was really invested in it. The online people.
All right. So I feel like at one point, like some of the Packers were like on his commercials, the don't drop the ball, make the call.
Mike McCarthy.
It was Donald Driver, I think.
He was on the buckle seatbelt.
This was old. Maybe this is older than. I actually rode. I was in the same airplane as Donald Driver.
Did you
Where's
sit
the
next to
proof?
him?
No, he was in first class, but I was really close to first class, and like he got on the plane. I was like, wow, that guy looks really familiar, like as if I know him, and like and I'm like so I'm like totally cheesy, and then I realize who it is, and like he catches me like
Did you say
grinning
hi?
from ear to ear. I did, and he said hi, and then we were waiting for our baggage together, and he said hi again because I was still probably staring.
Did you get a picture?
No, 'cause it was before I had a camera phone.
Oh.
This was like pre. I think either I was just dating Mr. Donahue or I was married, like early married years.
Oh, so she was like, maybe I should leave this guy for
Well, I actually
some-
texted him. I said, if you don't pick me up soon, I might go home with Donald Driver. So it might have been what I wrote. So 3 plus 1 is 4. Square root of 4 is just 2. 3 plus 6 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3 minus 1 is 2. So this one works out. Whew. All right. So this is actually our last day of new notes before we get ready for a test. We're gonna well, because this chapter was a little bit smaller, so maybe it won't be as many points as a normal test. I can't remember the point values, but maybe that's good to kind of keep it condensed. So hopefully we'll finish notes today, and then we'll review for 2 days though. So we'll review Thursday and Monday.
If you did a Monday test,
I'm not a big fan of Monday tests, especially after longer weekends.
Yeah, now we got these long weekends.
I know, every week.
So now when they're gonna like January starts and they're not going, I'm gonna be like, these weekends are just the word.
In my other class, I already called it. Just so you know, every snowstorm we're going to get this year is going to be on the weekend. Because they're never gonna give us snow days, or we're not gonna, well, snow days will now be virtual. We're supposed to have a snowstorm this weekend.
Yeah, when you be like when you're 6 years old and you just watch iCarly all
I
day.
really don't like the thing where like any snow day. Except this whole version is like little kids, like that's like one.
Yeah, right, that's like the best thing about being a little kid. Yeah. That pretty much takes care of that child.
Hey. Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Is it really supposed to snow this weekend? Oh, it really is. Probably is Saturday. Dude, she really has to do it right.
Not getting your pants talking about. It's not happening.
Wow, it actually is gonna.
I wasn't just making that up.
We're getting slugs out.
Because I was gonna plan on meeting some friends like 2 hours away, and like then I looked at the weather and I was like, depends. Okay,
Where were you flying when you saw Donald Driver?
I was coming home from Houston. I was at my friend's wedding.
Without Mr. Donnie?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he doesn't know them well, and it was expensive, and I'm trying to think of when she got married. It might have even been during football season. He might have been coaching football, so he was just like, just go.
He was performing skits that he was gonna.
On Saturday? Yeah. Oh, there's an 80%. Yeah, my thing was saying like 6 inches, so like that's like real snow. Okay, or we get nothing. All right, guys. So the warm up, you guys, is kind of showing us what we're kind of getting into today. It's a reminder about imaginary numbers, but also about radicals and the denominators. So see what you guys remember about these two. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to try them. If you don't remember much, you can wait.
You're like Donald Driver. Then he won Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
He's a Megatroid.
Donald Driver has a very nice body.
Has very nice what?
Smile.
I thought you said legs.
That's what she said. I was like,
We're like,
Maddie just doesn't like to drive in school and her house.
she goes like 10 miles away from her house. I don't go 10 miles away from your house.
okay, guys.
You do? You drive to work now?
Holy cow.
I only have to go 10 minutes.
I
I
don't
only
like
have to go
choose
one
to drive
time.
to West Bend, like just go to the mall, like side roads in like in winter or. I grew up in the city, so there was always street lights, and so the country roads kind of freaked me out.
Oh yeah, I don't drive country roads out there.
And there's some bad road that you said that all the time.
How can you guys see?
I'm just a girl.
I can't see. I'm always like.
I know, I feel the same way.
I like driving at night. I like it so much. I love it.
Yeah, there was like no cities that, like no site or subdivision or just.
I was
suburbs.
on 23 last night and I'm like.
Okay, guys,
That's getting
so listen up, please. So, in the warm up, when we multiply 4i times the negative 5i, what do you get? Negative 20i squared.
Guess what I squared
So that's important. I squared is what?
is?
Yeah, so I squared is negative 1. So don't forget about that. That I squared equals negative 1. That was on our last test. We even talked about that for a little bit. So if you look at the sections, it looks like we're skipping 5-9. We actually put 5-9 into last chapter, if you recall. So that's where the i's showed up. So I squared is negative 1. So this really becomes a negative 20 times a negative 1, which just ends up being 20. So 20 is our answer for that. All right. Then this next one here is kind of similar to what we did a few days ago, is that we don't like that radical in the denominator. So what do we need to multiply by? Do you remember? What's-
4 plus root.
Yeah. So we multiply by the exact same thing except the opposite sign. We call that the conjugate. So we're going to multiply by 4 plus the square root of 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. And we have to FOIL or distribute here. So that becomes our top of our fraction. The bottom, though, we have to FOIL, but I know since we chose the conjugate, it'll work out really nicely. I just have to kind of make my way through it here. So 4 times 4. This is 4 square root of 2, and then a negative 4 square root of 2, and then a negative square root of 4. Those two cancel. So on the bottom, I have 16 minus square root of 4, so 16 minus 2. So this might be where you stopped. We can go a little bit further though. So I'll take a pause here to make sure you're all with me.
Oh, they're all
They're all divisible by what?
something. 7?
Eight.
No, 8.
2.
No,
How about just 2? Yeah, just 2.
8, 8, 8, 8, 8,
2.
2. So we can divide all of these by 2, just not the square root. So this becomes 16 and 4 square roots of 2 and then 7. So we can divide them all by 2. It's just the square root has to stay as a square root because of the fact that it's kind of like not a like term there. So what we're going to do today is we're basically combining these two ideas together. So we're going to involve imaginary numbers and the fact that we can't have a radical in the denominator, so which also means we can't have I in the denominator, because technically an I is a radical. So
Well, life's not there.
now the next couple problems are kind of review problems as well. So if you guys want to look at the next couple, again, they're actually kind of review.
What?
Foiling with I. So these are kind of more warm-ups. We're going to get even warmer.
He said today, life's not there. You know, Mr. Olson or Mr. Browning, I can't remember.
How did this roll?
Yeah, that doesn't, I'm not sure how who uses life's not here. That's not what it is
Because
catchphrase.
he's like, I don't care about your grades. And then he'll be like, well, or he'll say, I don't care about your grades. And then we'll be like, that's not fair. And then he'll be like, life's not fair. I hate it.
I thought Mr. Donahue said it.
I'm pretty sure he would. Unless Will was like,
This isn't fair.
Maybe he'd say it too well.
Okay.
he doesn't really.
Because we have a song request sheet now and all,
They wrote like League of Legends stuff on there.
Oh my gosh.
and the Gummy Bear song.
You wrote that!
Is that like the theme song from the cartoon?
No, it's.
Like, oh, I'm a gummy bear. Yes, I'm a gummy bear.
No, we don't have to.
We can show her the music video.
Because there used to be a TV show when I was a kid that was the Gummy Bear TV show, and it was like gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Now, definitely not.
That's not what you played. Game style.
Okay. So we're doing FOIL here. Now again, this is kind of review because we really did this like a few sections ago. We're to FOIL these through, but then we can combine like terms, and then also remembering that I squared is -1. So we're going to replace that with -1. Oops, yeah. then we have to stop because the I and the 26 can't go together. So it's going to be 26 plus 7I. You've been up to something today.
Beard?
Yeah. He's been cleaning over there.
Well, he's wearing shorts on,
Yeah,
Well, I
Sunday
spilled
night.
my water on myself.
Oh, did you lose your pants then? Did you have pants on before or no? Okay.
I actually spilled water on myself twice today.
Peyton still wears shorts.
Why did you do that?
I got a hole in my lip. I don't know.
You got a hole in your leg?
Lip.
Oh.
The mask muffled his.
It sounded like I
Okay. So what type of problem is this one? Why is this one good?
It cancels.
It cancels. It's that conjugate. So we like this kind, and we're going to end up using that to get rid of our I in the denominator. So just like we got rid of the I in the radical in the denominator, up in the warm-up, we can do the same thing with the I here.
And look at that.
So this one, there's no more I at all in this problem. So it'll end up being 45. So we like that again because we got rid of the I altogether because we used that conjugate.
I know.
Yeah, 36 and 9 is 75. Obviously.
That's like something Mrs. Donahue would be like 75 and I'd be like 45. And she'd be like, no, it's 75.
Okay. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to talk about finding the conjugates for this. Again, that's that word that sounds like a disease, but it's actually a good thing. Conjugate is the opposite version of these numbers. So the one that will make the I cancel. So I basically just take what I have here, and they want us to find the product, which just means multiply. So the conjugate would just be the opposite sign of that I value. And they want us to multiply it and find that value. And if we find the correct conjugate, we should be able to get rid of the I altogether. So it's either 34 or 74, depending on that. All right, so this next one we're going to multiply by 1 plus 6i. Oops, what are we doing? No more parentheses. So become plus 36. All right, so the next two are maybe a little bit confusing as to what the conjugate would be. What do you think the conjugate would be of 8i? And again, the conjugate's
Negative
trying to,
8i.
you could use a negative 8i. You really could use anything involving an I to get rid of it. So you could just use I itself, but probably is the easiest thing just to say like it's going to be the opposite version of it is probably like the easiest way to explain it. But basically you just want to get rid of the I. So multiplying by a negative 8i is fine.
Take that.
So then it's going to end up being 64.
Maddie, I got first place on Kahoot yesterday. I had the best name in the class too.
What was it? Wait, who?
I'm pretty sure Jared got one.
What was it again?
Huh?
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Oh, that's
No,
right.
he didn't. I
Did
thought,
Gary get first place?
no,
Yeah.
Wait, who?
Didn't you?
no.
Yesterday, you got first place at the
Yeah.
Kinsey, shut up.
Yeah.
I got
See,
second.
you did.
Okay. So this one probably isn't as tough to find the conjugate for, it's just a bigger pain. So it's the opposite sign, which is going to be a tougher one to FOIL. But we know those inner terms will cancel. So kind of knowing that ahead of time is hopefully helpful as we go through this.
Kinsey, you got that song sticking in.
So it's 2 times 7i square root 2. And then the last term is probably tough. It's 7 times 7 is 49. I times I is I squared. And then square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4.
Jesus.
This is good.
Jesus.
Yeah. So kind of a lot goes on here. These cancel.
Like, yeah, they did.
This is minus 7, but this is negative 1. And then this is 2. Take a minute to be okay with that, or like ask, oh no, not 7, it should be 49, sorry. Why did I change that?
I was like, she took the.
Take a minute to be okay with that, and then you shouldn't be okay. Don't be okay. So minus 49, negative 1, and then square root of 4 is 2. There we go. Is that better? Hopefully you're better okay with that.
Keep on.
All right. Now I have 2 negatives. That's going to become a positive. 49 times 2,
Is
102.
98.
What?
the answer is one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was a step ahead.
Okay. So if you guys want to do whiteboards, or what do you guys want to do in their break here?
Not
whiteboards?
math related.
Not math related?
Yeah, would you rather?
Would you rather? Or we could do a
Or that one.
Pictionary.
Or that one where you're like,
Dictionary.
if you eat breakfast with eggs in there, and then like, you know, all the options, and you go down the corner of the room. You know?
You don't want to do Pictionary? I thought you'd like Pictionary. All right. Do you think our people online want to watch Pictionary or no? Just
Probably not.
2 videos.